Today, we're talking about squeezing every drop out of your workers' compensation case. And why are we going to do that? Because Brooklyn's in the house. Most injured workers don't realize how many small mistakes end up costing them thousands of dollars in their workers' compensation case. Things like missing doctor's appointments, not providing accurate information, even what you post online and your social media can shrink your payments down sometimes to nothing without you even realizing it. So today we're going to walk through step by step everything you need to know and what you need to avoid if you want to squeeze every dollar out of your workers' compensation claim. That's an important thing. We're avoiding the pitfalls, folks, and that's a super important thing. As always, post your questions. If they're on point with what I'm rolling through, I'm going to jump right on them. Otherwise, we're going to get to them towards the end. What steps should you take with regard to medical care to get the most out of your workers' compensation case? So we're going to look at your medical treatment, your medical care. What do you want to do? First and foremost, and we've said this 1,000 times before, and we're going to speak about this into the future, and Brooklyn wants me to talk about 100% disability. We're going to talk about total disability too. But what's the most important thing? It's going to a doctor who knows and understands the workers' compensation system. Not only is he there to know and understand your injuries and how to make you better, but he knows the system, so he knows what documents to file, when to file them, how to respond to judges' requests, because that happens all the time. There are doctors that don't do New York workers' compensation, and they might take private health insurance. They might do whatever they do. There might be doctors in the hospital. And when we send those doctors a letter and we say, hey, the judge wants you to clarify your position on X, Y, and Z, they say, I'm not doing that. And they look at you like you have 7 heads, and then you don't get what you want. And then the case falls into a black hole. And then the value of the case just goes. Don't let that happen to you. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. And it really puts me in a weird predicament, because lawyers are viewed as these people who send you to their doctor. You're going to see my doctor and this there. And I'm not that type of guy. I want you to see a doctor that you're happy with, that you're comfortable with. But it's also important to get the records that we need so that we can push your case forward. And if your doctor's not going to do that for us, it creates a huge problem. Doctors who don't testify. By going to a doctor that's not a workers' comp doctor, that doesn't understand the system, that doesn't understand what they need to do, it really jeopardizes your claim. For instance, you have a controverted case. The insurance company's saying that they're not paying you for whatever reason, and they're controverting your case. We go to court, and that medical report from your family physician, the first doctor you saw after you got hurt, is in the file. And I say, is this your treating doctor? Yeah, that's my treating doctor. Okay, Judge, here's our prima facie. It's from Dr. Jones, the family doctor who's going to take on this case, help our guy. And the judge says, great, insurance company, are you accepting the medical? No, we're not accepting the medical. Well, I'm going to find prima facie medical evidence, and I'm going to allow this case to move forward. So insurance company, do you want to cross-examine this doctor? Well, of course I want to cross-examine this doctor. We think he's a big fat liar. Okay, fine. Go cross-examine the doctor. And what happens then with this family physician who's never handled a workers' compensation claim a day in their life? Well, we send a letter, and the insurance company sends a letter, and we make some phone calls, and we say, hey, doc, you got to testify. You saw this person. You know he got hurt on the job. Time to testify. And they say, well, I don't do testimony. I'm not testifying. Or they say, I require 6 months notice and $10,000 for a day of testimony, and la, 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 la. We've heard every excuse under the sun. No, not how it works. Here in New York State, you get paid a flat rate for your testimony, and you're going to do it. And if you don't, what happens is you get precluded. The medical report gets thrown out. You lose the opportunity to testify, and the case evaporates because there's no medical evidence to support it. And hopefully we could see it coming in enough time that we can get you to a different doctor, or you treat elsewhere or something, and we can salvage this. But if the doctor doesn't understand how the workers' compensation system works, your case could blow up. And this is not a squeezing every penny out of your case issue anymore. This is trying to save. We're trying to salvage something here at this point, because that case that could have a ton of value could evaporate into nothing. And you got to be very careful with that. So number one, biggest thing, go see a doctor that knows the system. And I see this happen a lot in so many different areas. You know, we had a call the other day from a person. Oh, well, and I forget what his nationality was, but he found a surgeon of the same nationality, and he felt very comfortable with that surgeon. I want this surgeon to do my surgery. He's from my homeland, and we share the same, beliefs and religion and whatever it was. I don't remember where, but I said, the guy doesn't do workers' compensation. You're sabotaging your own case. I understand why you want to see this doctor. I totally agree with you. You do whatever you want to do, but it's not the right time. This doctor is not the right doctor for your case because he doesn't take workers' comp. You are going to blow up your own case before it even gets off the ground. So you have to see a doctor that knows, understands, and is willing to participate with the New York workers' compensation system. They know how to request treatment. They know how to put things through the PAR system, the portal, so that they can get that authorization. They know how to fight the denials. They know how to get coverage for those requests. They know how to push them forward. They know how and when to file medical records. They know the medical treatment guidelines, super important here in New York State. They know how to handle a workers' compensation case. It's just as important as having a lawyer who does workers' comp to handle your workers' compensation case as it is having a doctor that does workers' comp to handle your workers' compensation case, right? You wouldn't go to, the guy who handled your uncle's speeding ticket for a workers' compensation case. I always tell people, you don't go to your dentist when your foot hurts. You go to the right person for the job. And when it comes to doctors, you want to go to the right doctor who knows workers' compensation and is also going to treat you for the injuries that you have. It is the biggest tip. It is the most important tip. We could go back and forth. I could tell you stories about this for days. I could get angry and tell you everything. And it comes down to find a workers' compensation doctor, okay? They know how to document your injury. They know how to create the medical records that you need to support your claim, and they know how and when to file the right things at the right time. It's super important. Excuse me. I'm getting over this cough, and I apologize. Second, and just as important, be honest with your doctor. And we've talked about this before, getting out in front of those pre-existing, past accidents, injuries, medical conditions, treatments. Make sure your doctor knows about it. Make sure your doctor knows about it, because it's one thing when you don't tell the insurance company doctor about it, or he says you didn't tell him. But it's another thing when your doctor says, I had no idea he got into a car accident 3 years ago. I had no idea she fell down the steps 5 years ago. I had no idea that this is her 7th workers' compensation case in a row. I had no idea. It doesn't look very good. Make sure your doctor knows about your past medical history, past injuries, past illnesses, past treatment. So you want to get it out in front of you so it doesn't surprise you, and it's less of a problem. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a problem. It's just less of a problem. It's easier to deal with that issue than if the insurance company digs it up and throws it in your face as fraud. You don't want that to happen. Judges will automatically give you you're already a step behind when fraud's been raised. Even though innocent until proven guilty and all that's true, the allegation carries a stigma, and you want to avoid that. So get out in front of those past medical issues and tell your doctor about it up front, okay? Disclose previous injuries. Be honest about your abilities. Don't malinger. Don't fake it. Don't put on a fake limp. Just give it your best when you go in there for examinations. Do your best range of motion. Give them 100%. Let the facts are the facts, and the facts will come through regardless of what's going on. And if you try to fudge it a little bit, it's going to come out. It's not worth it. Malingering can ruin your credibility. Don't the fake limp, that's as high as I can go. You want to hear a great story? This is a Social Security story. I used to work at a law firm. We had a Social Security attorney, and they were doing a Social Security hearing, which is very similar to a workers' comp hearing. And there's a shoulder injury, and the judge said, "Sir, I see that you have very bad limitations with your shoulder." "Yeah, Judge, I can only lift my shoulder this high, and that's all I could lift it now." "Oh my God, sir, that's terrible. Before the accident, how high could you lift your shoulder?" "Oh, I can lift it all the way up." And he did that in court. Yeah, you lose. So let's be careful. And it's not a matter of being careful. It's just be honest, right? Honesty is key. I gotta steal my little notes there. Next, follow your doctor's treatment plan. If you go see a doctor, he lays out a treatment plan for you. Come for physical therapy. Go get an MRI. Get these injections because physical therapy has not worked. Whatever the treatment plan is, follow it. If you don't follow the treatment plan, you're non-compliant. You could say, well, blah, 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 my goldfish died and this happened. No, you're going to get tagged with the non-compliance tag. He is non-compliant. And you know what? Doctors, the doctors are busy. The lawyers are busy handling cases. Doctors are busy with an office full of patients that, the doctors are they're not going to, they're only going to give you the benefit of the doubt so long that once that case comes to deposition, the doctor's going to say he's been non-compliant. He was supposed to come in. He missed 3 appointments in the last 3 months, non-compliant. You have your own doctor calling you non-compliant on the record. Doesn't sound very good. Doesn't look very good. Follow your doctor's treatment plan. They're there to help you. They're there to get you better. That's really what this is all about. Let's get you as good as we can get you medically, physically, and let the lawyer pick up the pieces of what's left, get you as much money as possible, and let you move on with your life. It's simple. Don't make it harder than it is. It's a simple concept. Here in New York State, you need to see your doctor at least once every 3 months, every 90 days, if you're maintaining that you have a lost time claim. A medical report is good for 90 days of lost time benefits. So you need to see your doctor at least once every 3 months that you're out of work. My recommendation, let's bring those margins in a little bit. Let's not stretch it to the 90-day limit. Let's try to see the doctor so that there's a good amount of overlap, so that there's no question as to the fact that you're disabled, because it really, it doesn't look great, and it gets a little dicey in court when we're trying to figure out your awards and we start counting down days and we're at, 82 days, 83 days, 84 days. There's a holiday, but 84. Try to overlap those margins a little bit. But don't overdo it because they don't want you overtreating either, and there's no reason for it. Follow your doctor's instructions. Treat every 90 days if you're out of work. Gaps in your treatment put your benefits at risk, and it can lower your overall payout. Gaps in treatment, getting tagged with the non-compliant status, they look bad. They just look bad. Not only does it look bad when it's raised and we're arguing about it in court, it looks bad physically. When the judge opens your file to handle your hearing for that day, it's clear as day. The dates, the judge sorts your medical reports by dates, and all of a sudden there's a huge jump in medical. There's 6 months of medical that's not there. Sir, why did you not see a doctor from March of 2024 until September of 2024? Can you explain that? Oh, I didn't think I needed to. You didn't think you needed to? Well, then you couldn't have been that hurt if you didn't think you needed to see a doctor, because people who are very hurt not only think, but they go to the doctor. So follow your doctor's instructions. Those gaps in treatment just look terrible. Attend your IMEs. I know. People say, I'm not going to, this guy screwed me last time. I'm not going to let him screw me again. He said I was a 50%, I had a 50% disability, and my doctor says 100%. I'm not going to see him. He's just going to screw me again. If you keep missing IMEs, it looks bad. This is my judge gavel. This looks bad. Go to your IMEs. You have to go. And if you don't, and if you make it a habit of missing IMEs or coming up with excuses, the judge is going to say, benefits suspended until you actually go and attend an IME. I've seen it happen. You don't want to expose yourself to that. And when you go to those IMEs, just be honest. Yes, I know that they're there at the behest of the insurance company. They were hired by the insurance company, and I get it. I understand it. I know we have these discussions. This is like the old married couple where my clients come in and we actually, voices get raised sometimes, and we're talking about the same thing. We're arguing in the same direction. We agree. No need to argue. I know what you're going to tell me. I get it. Go. You have to go. Just be honest. Be upfront. Give it your best effort. Make sure you tell them about past injuries, accidents, medical conditions, disabilities, treatments, anything that might be related. Tell the IME doctor. Tell him. I know. A lot of IME doctors have a questionnaire that you fill out, and there might not even be a spot for it. Maybe there's just a checkbox. Have you ever been hurt in the past? Yes or no? They leave it very vague. If you feel compelled, write it in the margin. I had a car accident 5 years ago and I hurt my back. Boom, done. This way they can't deny that you didn't tell them. So super important. Be honest. Another place where people, and this is slightly related, somewhat related, because we're talking medical care, where money's lost, is called M&T, medical and travel expenses. In New York State, you're entitled to get reimbursed for travel and medical expenses, traveling to and from the doctor's office and related medical. So what does that mean? You go to see your doctor, you drive your car and you go see him, and he is 10 miles away. So you drive there 10 miles, you drive back 10 miles, that's a 20-mile round trip. What do? You fill out the form and you write down, on September 17th, I went to go see my doctor and it was a 20-mile round trip. I saw Dr. Jones. And you write that down on a piece of paper. You write, there's a special form we have here, and call your lawyer, we'll send it to you. You can print it out off the board's website. You go to physical therapy twice a week, write it down. You go see an IME once every couple of weeks, write it down. You're entitled to get reimbursed for all that travel. You're entitled to reimbursement for use of public transportation to and from the doctor's office. You're entitled to reimbursement. This is where it gets dicey. People start taking Ubers and taxis and things like that. And the insurance companies have a major problem with that, because, you know, a ride that you could jump in your car and be there in 15 minutes, now they're getting banged out for a $60 Uber bill. Not going to happen. The only time that the car services and Ubers and things like that are really authorized and approved is when it's medically necessary. If you got a broken leg, a broken foot, you know, anything like that, then if there's a medical necessity for it, yes, you'll get that authorization. But simply just taking an Uber because it's easier for you, not good enough. Public transportation, driving yourself, having a friend drive you. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're forced to take an Uber and they're going to give you a hard time, you can at the very least try to keep track of the mileage and put in for the mileage so you get a partial reimbursement for the Uber trip. Related medical expenses. If you have to buy anything medical, nowadays everything's pretty much covered. You know, there's so many companies that provide DME, durable medical equipment. But back in the day, once in a while, someone have to go out and buy their own, you know, cervical collar, or if you need bandages to dress a wound that keeps oozing, anything you need to buy out of pocket that's medically driven, you are entitled to get reimbursed for. The form, for those who want to know, if you go on the board website, or you can just Google New York State Workers' Compensation Board Form C-257, that's the reimbursement form. It gives you instructions at the top. You fill out that form. You keep it, you know, somewhere handy. Every time you have an expense, you list it. When it gets full, send it to your lawyer. They'll send you a fresh one, print out a fresh one, and we'll put in for reimbursement. So that's money that's being left on the table. And it's funny because the carriers get, oh, you're really going to bring up M&T? Yeah, MFer, I'm really bringing up M&T because my guy really didn't want to get hurt, and he did. Now he's got to go to the doctor. And according to the law, you have to pay for his travel. So yeah, I'm bringing it up. Just saying. I see a bunch of the questions flowing in here. I love it. Let's move right along. Number 2, how does documenting accurate wages get you more money? So average weekly wage, we've gone over this in the past. We're going to go over this again in the future. Super important. Average weekly wage. One of my favorite things to do is to sit home and figure out people's average weekly wage. It's not that far off the truth. When people send me their tax returns on cases where it's in dispute, I will sit there and go over tax returns, pay stubs, you name it, to figure out proper average weekly wage, because it's the basis for all of your monetary awards. It's the basis for your monetary awards. And I want to get that number as high as possible and get your monetary awards up as high as possible. So higher documented wages mean bigger weekly checks, larger settlements, more money. That's what we're here for. Provide your lawyer. So let's just backtrack for a second. The insurance company is required, and your employer is required, when a case is filed, to submit it's another form. It's called a C-240. It's a form that lists your earnings from your date of accident back for a full year. So if you got hurt today, September 17th, 2025, they're going to provide us with your earnings from September 17th, 2024 until now. Your gross weekly earnings, not your net, not what you take home, your gross. The big number on your check, not the small number. Okay. And that's what we use. We average out that year of earnings to figure out what your average weekly wage is. If you didn't work a substantial part of the year, they sometimes provide a similar worker payroll. This is where lawyers do their thing, because there's 100 different ways to statistically figure out what that average weekly wage is. And we're going to do everything we can to get that number as high as possible. If that number seems off to you, pull your pay stubs, pull your tax returns, pull any financial records, pull any evidence you can, and sit down with your lawyer and go through it, and let us figure out if that number is wrong or not. And let us see if we can get that number higher. Pardon. Any evidence is helpful. We're working on a case, and this happens all the time. People who get paid cash. People who get paid cash. Construction workers, you see it all the time. You get that envelope from your boss once a week or once every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a plain white envelope. Sometimes it's the envelope that they take from the bank. When the bank gives you cash, they take a whole handful of envelopes from the bank. So it'll say Chase Bank or TD Bank at the top. And a lot of times they'll write the person's name, Mark, on the envelope. They'll write down the week, September, I guess it would be the week ending September 19th, whatever it is, or the date that they're getting paid, and the amount. And you know what? I've used those envelopes as evidence. And you'd be surprised how many people actually keep the envelopes. A lot of people throw them out. Most people throw them out. But I'd say there's a larger percentage than you'd think keep the envelope. And we've used those envelopes as evidence of a person's salary. So they come back with a C-240 saying, oh, this guy he earns $100 a day. And all of a sudden we have envelopes that show that he's been earning $1,500 a week. It's proof. It's evidence. Evidence, evidence, evidence. If the average weekly wage is wrong, provide your lawyer with evidence to get that number up as high as possible. The higher your average weekly wage, the higher your compensation benefits are. Huge. Tax returns are a big thing. And honestly, a lot of times tax returns, when a tax return is being requested, oftentimes it's because the person's in an industry where the tax return is going to hurt them. We used to see it a lot with cab drivers who got paid a lot of cash. They didn't declare all that cash. People who do get paid cash very rarely file taxes for all their cash. I'm telling you this, be honest with the federal government and the state government and file taxes for the money that you earned. And this way, if you ever do have a workers' compensation case, we can do everything we can to get you as much money as possible based upon your actual earnings. I'm waving a spine at you because that's how serious this is. It hurts when we can't prove what you're actually earning, and or the judge rules that the money that you're actually earning is not correct. We want to get you as much as possible. Providing average weekly wage information for all your jobs. Concurrent employment is the theme here. Concurrent employment. If you work 2, 3, 4 jobs, if you get hurt at one job, but you were employed by other jobs around that same time, we add those average weekly wages together. So your main job might be working at you work for, I don't know, think of a company, a big company. You work for you work for Chase Bank. You're a banker at Chase Bank, and you earn $3,000 a week, and 2 nights a week you bartend, and you earn what do you earn bartending? $300 a night. So you earn $3,000 a week working at Chase Bank, and you earn $600 a week bartending. $300 per night for 2 nights, right? And you get hurt at your bartending job. So your average weekly wage is $600 because that's what you were earning at that job. Well, what about concurrent employment? If you have a second job and you're working those 2 jobs proximal to each other within 2 weeks of the accident, you can raise concurrent employment. And now your average weekly wage, if we bring in the Chase Bank, goes from $600 to $3,600. You're going to max out all your awards. It's going to be awesome. So keep that in mind. We see this also with home health aides. Home health aides, sometimes they work for one agency. I work for Apple Home Care, and I work there 9 to 5 or whatever it is. That's the only place I work. That's my job. But there are other people, home attendants, who work for multiple agencies. I work for this agency here and that agency there and this agency here. And we want to bring all those together. We want all that evidence of all that earnings and bring it together for concurrent employment. Interestingly, with the home health aid theme here, there has been in recent the last couple of years, there are home health care agencies that allow people to care for family under this agency. So there are agencies you work for an agency that is tasked with providing your loved one, your mother or father or grandmother, with home health care services, which the family member provides. And that's a job. And we see concurrent there a lot because, they work their regular 9 to 5, and then they come home and provide their nursing services in the evenings and on weekends. and they get compensated for it. And if you get hurt at either one of the, whether it's doing your nursing thing or doing your regular 9 to 5, that's concurrent employment. Concurrent employment is super important. If you have it, you want to make sure you let your lawyer know about it, let them figure out. In order to get concurrent employment, however, the concurrent job must be one that you would otherwise be entitled to workers' compensation benefits for if you were hurt at that job. So the Chase Bank bartender guy got hurt as a bartender. He's entitled to concurrent employment because if he was working his job at Chase Bank and got hurt, would he be entitled to workers' compensation? I mean, based upon the facts, it really depends, but most likely, yes. So that's how concurrent works. Very important. People leave a lot of money on the table because they forget about concurrent employment. Always make sure you and your lawyer double check your average weekly wage. I mean, listen, we're all human. I made mistakes. We all make mistakes, but I can tell you this, when I'm prepping a file, when I'm getting ready for court, when I'm talking to a client, I double, triple, quadruple check average weekly wage. I check it every time I go into that file because it's one of the single most important factors in getting a person money and maximizing benefits. Whew. Number 3, how many bullet points do we have for today? 4, 5, 6, 6. We're halfway there. How can you present a strong workers' compensation case to increase your total payout? So, number 1, how do you present your case in a way to increase your payout? If your case is being controverted, these tips lend themselves more to that. When a case is being accepted, some of these things are not as important. Work with your lawyer to submit strong evidence that supports your case. If your case is being controverted, if they're fighting your case, if they're saying you didn't suffer an injury, you don't work here, you didn't provide notice, your injuries are not causally related, whatever it is, oftentimes it's no employer-employee relationship. The person didn't work here. The person does work here but didn't get hurt here, or the person never gave notice. Those are usually the biggest 3. Get evidence of that. Get evidence of that. If, you see this person doesn't work here, happens a lot in the construction industry. This guy, he doesn't work here. We employ 97 different construction workers, but this guy's not on our records. Well, when you started working there, did they give you the T-shirt that says Joe's Construction Company? If they did, let your lawyer see that. Send him a picture of that. Let us put that in the case file. Are there text messages back and forth between the employer, the foreman, the supervisor, showing that you work there? Get those in. Get that information in. Those text messages are also good for notice. Work with your lawyer to build the evidence that you need to support your claim. Excuse me. Proof of income, super important. We already went over that in slide 2, but it's just as important here. Those W-2s, pay stubs, tax returns, so on and so forth. Accident-related evidence. So accident reports, incident reports, copies of communications, text messages, evidence that you submitted timely notice. Here in New York State, you have 30 days to give notice. We had this speech this morning. We have some new people working in the office. I gave them the notice speech, and immediately after our first client of the day walked in, and I had to give them the notice speech too. Notice in New York, you're required to give notice of your injury to your employer within 30 days. Notice is required to be in writing unless your employer has actual notice. If there is questionable proof that you notified your employer of your injury, get some proof together. If you're within the 30 days, do it. Do it in writing. Satisfy the notice requirements so you don't have to worry about it in court. If you got hurt, maybe it's been 3 weeks and you just spoke to your lawyer and you haven't heard much from anybody. Talk to your lawyer. Maybe it's time to send a quick email to your boss, a quick letter to HR, a quick text to your foreman, a quick text to the owner of the company. Hey, Bill, just reminding you that I fell down the stairs 3 weeks ago. My back and my leg and my arm and blah, blah, blah are still hurting me. And that's why I haven't been to work. Boom, you're done. You're covered. Talk to your lawyer about those things. You also want strong medical evidence. Strong medical evidence, strong medical records from your doctor. I'm sorry I keep playing with my collar. I feel like it's curling up here, and I got to fix that. Which is why, going back to slide number 1, it's so important to have a doctor who understands the system. You don't have to go running around making sure your doctor's giving you good evidence. If they know the system, they're going to take care of that, and you're just going to check in on what's going on. Impairment rating, when it's time that you're getting close to MMI, and this happens in all cases now. Now we're beyond those controverted cases. You want to make sure that you get a report from your doctor that's timely and gives your MMI ratings, whether it's permanency, schedule loss of use, or what. A lot of people I get yelled at every once in a while from a client when they say, I'm done treating. When am I going to go back to the doctor? He told me he's done with me. Yeah, well, if he's done with you, he should have done a permanency report. So you got to go back one more time and get a permanency evaluation done so we can get the report, move your case forward, and get you your benefits. So the doctors who know the system know what they need to do here, and that's one of them. People seem to think, it's a big mistake. They say, well, I'm done. I'm not going back to the doctor. Well, you got to go back. You got to get your permanency done so we can finish up your case. If you don't, the insurance company is going to send you to see their doctor at some point, and they're going to rely on that. And if that's the only medical evidence of permanent disability, you're going to get stuck with it. Any strong case also, when we're talking strong cases, anytime you have to give testimony at a hearing, call your lawyer, get prepped in advance. A large percentage of my clients will call me up. Hey, I know I have a hearing next week. Am I going to have to testify? And 9 times out of 10, yeah, probably not. If they ask you anything, they're going to ask you stuff that you know the answer to. Have you gone back to work since the last hearing? Have you done any work? They might ask you questions about your treatment. Hey, your surgery was authorized. Are you planning on getting your surgery? 9 times out of 10, they're going to ask you stuff that you know the answer to and you don't need to be prepped on. But those clients call me anyway. This way they know. And this way, if they are asked any questions, they know about it. If testimony is to be given, you want to make sure you get prepped. You want to make sure you speak to your lawyer so you know what to expect. We've talked about it before, managing expectations. Number one, you want to know what to expect going into court. Number two, you don't want to be shocked, blindsided, or even nervous. I like to go through mock trials with my clients. When I do a prep for a case that's being controverted, I know we're going to go to court talking about issues of accident and notice and witnesses and what happened. I get all the information. I just talk to my client. I get all the information I need. I write it down. And then you know what I do? We do a little fake trial. Sir, I'm going to run through the questions with you the way we're going to ask them in court. On September 17th, 2025, were you working? Yeah. Who were you working for? Oh, I work for Joe's Construction Company. What type of work were you doing? I'm a carpenter. How long were you working there? I worked there 6 months. And did you have an accident? Yeah. Can you very briefly tell us what happened? I was bringing a piece of plywood up the stairs and I tripped and I fell down the stairs and the plywood landed and bonked me on the head. Oh, what parts of your body did you hurt? My head, my neck, my back, my left arm. Beautiful. Hey, now you know what to expect. Get that prep so you feel good going in there. You don't want to be overly nervous or unnecessarily nervous. You should be a little nervous. Don't be too nervous. How can returning to work result in more money in your workers' compensation case? This is my favorite thing on earth. Okay, it's better than pumpkin pie, and I don't even like pumpkin pie that much. How can returning to work result in more money on your workers' compensation case? Here is when those scheduled loss of use cases become huge. In scheduled loss of use cases, the longer you're out of work, the longer they pay you workers' compensation benefits for your lost time. That's the more money they're going to take credit for and deduct from your settlement. Every dollar they pay you for lost time is a dollar that they get credit for when it's time to determine your loss of use. So if you have a $50,000 loss of use and you were out of work for 20 weeks and you got paid $1,000 a week, they're going to take $20,000 worth of credit from your $50,000 settlement and you're going to get $30,000. But if you lost 5 weeks of work at $1,000 a week, they're going to take credit for $5,000. You're going to get $45,000 in the final schedule loss of use decision on your case. And that difference, that 15-week difference, where the first guy was out for 20 weeks, but the second guy was only out for 5 weeks, that 15-week difference is 15 weeks that second guy worked, right? And while working, he earned his salary. And that salary of $1,500, because if his comp rate was $1,000, that means his salary was $1,500. 15 weeks at $1,500 a week is $22,500. When you add that on to the $45,000 that his scheduled loss of use is worth, that's $67,500 plus the $5,000 he received in lost time, $72,500. A significant amount of money. A significant amount of money. So going back to work sooner on a scheduled loss case generally gets you in a better financial position overall. Make sure you talk to your doctor. Don't go back to work prematurely so it's going to endanger you or make your condition worse. Talk to your lawyer so that this applies to you, but this is a big one. Talk to everybody. Your workers' compensation checks only pay you, like I said, In the $1,000 a week scenario, you only get 2/3 of your salary. Going back to work gets you your full salary if you're back at full duty or full wage earning capacity. So it restores you, gets you back better. If you do return to work, but it's at light duty, we call it reduced earnings. If you're earning less, you could be entitled to reduced earnings awards, which is 2/3 of the difference. But again, that still goes towards the credit that they're going to receive at the end of your case. If you are partially disabled and you're not working, a judge might order you to go back to work within your restrictions. We might order you to look for work within your restrictions. And not doing a good enough work search is going to endanger your benefits for lost time. So you really want to be focused on how this works here. Make sure you talk to your lawyer. Make sure you have a good lawyer. And if you don't, you can call me. I haven't done my shameless promotion yet, but if anybody does need to speak to me, 212-406-8989. And also, if you check out, we did a recent video on work search. So since we're talking about work search, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Check out my recent video on work search. It's going to be linked in this description of this video on the tube. I don't know about the gram, but it's going to be on the tube. I don't know about the talk either, but check it on my website. And we talk about work search, the requirements of work search. And I have a checklist that you could follow. I'm trying to make it easy because it's a very tough thing to deal with in workers' compensation. And I'll have you know, I was on a case the other day, and the judge told me, I saw your work search video and it was awesome. You nailed it and you explained everything. So judges are I guess they can't get enough of me. We know that's a joke. They know that's a joke. But I'm just trying to make it easy for you folks. I'm trying to get you to understand what you need to do to maintain your benefits. And if I got a judge telling me it was pretty much on point, that makes me feel good about what I'm telling you. And if we're sticking on the point of judges, don't get mad at your judges. They're doing their job. They're doing the best they can. Listen, we see the world we're living in. Some people think a little bit this way. Some people think a little bit that way. Some people, like vanilla ice cream. Some people like chocolate ice cream. Some people like the bus. Some people like the subway. Some people like the Mets, and some people like that other team in New York. Listen, opinions. We all are entitled to opinions and our views and whatever. And if a judge might not see eye to eye with you and your lawyer in the case that you're presenting to them, it doesn't make them a bad person. Don't get mad at your judges. Some people call up this MF. Relax. All right. We're all here trying to get the job done and do the best we can for you under this set of circumstances, the facts and the laws and how they all apply to each other. When I hear people getting pissed off the judge or the insurance company attorney, I understand the frustration. I totally get it. But we're all here. We all have families. We all want to go home at the end of the day. And we know that you're not always able to do that because you're hurt. And we're trying to do the best we can to get you what you're entitled to. But just use your head sometimes. We hear people getting a little too loud and obnoxious when it comes to judges and insurance company attorneys and representatives. We're here for you. And I've had clients call me yelling and screaming, and I tell them, look, if you're just calling a vent, let me know. You could vent to me all you want. If it makes you feel better to yell and scream on the phone with me so you don't do it when you have your hearing next week, or you don't do it when you're on the phone with an insurance company, fine by me. With that said, please don't call me and yell and scream for no reason. Number 5, how can you avoid sabotaging your workers' compensation case and reducing your payout? I think of the old, what was his name? Captain Kirk. Those who know. Cat. What was Captain Kirk's real name? William Shatner. Go on YouTube. She's coming in. I got the answer. It's William Shatner.
I didn't hear the question.
Captain Kirk. Go on YouTube, folks. I forgot for a minute. I'm on a roll here. I'm not on my Shatner brain space. I'm in the workers' Go on YouTube and look at sabotage. You say sabotage. My brother loves that clip. How can you avoid sabotaging your workers' compensation case and reducing your payout? Number 1, we talked about this before. It's one of the most popular questions and issues that gets raised to me all the time. Surveillance. Assume that they're surveilling you. Assume you're being surveilled. Assume that somebody's following you. Assume there's a camera on you at all times. If you got a bad back and 2 bad shoulders, maybe hire the kid up the block to shovel the damn snow. Okay. Assume that you are being watched. If you're having all these issues, I know you're a big tough guy, but maybe your wife can help you carry some of the groceries, and maybe you can make more than one trip to the car. You don't need to manhandle them into the house. And look, I know you're going to tell me, oh my God, I carried all the groceries in one shot, and then I laid on the couch for 2 days. My arm was killing me. They don't see you laying on the couch. They see you carrying the groceries. Assume you're being surveilled. Surveillance is most common before IMEs, before hearings, or during settlement negotiations. Why is that? Because that's the time that important decisions are being made and things are happening. IMEs, because they know where you're going to be at a specific date and time. And if you're coming from your house, they could watch you leaving your house, going to your IME, leaving the IME, and going back home or going wherever you're going. And they're going to monitor any changes in behavior. And we've seen the knucklehead who leaves the house with a plastic bag, pulls up, around the corner from the IME, puts on their collar, their neck brace, takes the cane out of the car, and then goes into the IME, comes out, makes to their car, takes everything off, throws in the back seat, and then goes bowling. You gotta be shitting me. You gotta be kidding me. Come on. I mean, and again, if you're at that level, I don't even want to know from you, but just assume that you are being surveilled. Don't do things your doctor told you not to do. You never know who's watching. We get it. You want to pick your kid. I would be heartbroken if I couldn't take my kid to the park and play with them. But if your doctor's telling you not to lift over 10 pounds, your 40-pound kid is going to be a little rough on you. And I understand it's your kid, but we just got to be smart here. It sucks. It really sucks. That one breaks my heart more than anything else. But I have a heart, folks. You might not have thought that. They're not always looking for the smoking gun. And that's what one thing that people kind of fail to understand. They think like, they didn't catch me working, so I'm okay. I haven't gone back to work, so I'm fine. They're not looking for the smoking gun. They're looking for inconsistencies. They're looking for a couple little things that, when it's all put together, make you look bad. They don't need to find They don't need to find the smoking gun if a few inconsistencies together equal what a smoking gun could be. So, yeah, I never went back to work. No, you didn't go back to work. But, you helped your daughter move into college, and you were schlepping around big boxes. Not everyone knows what the word schlep means. Big plastic totes full of clothes, or you were helping your brother move, or you're out there washing the car. They're looking for inconsistencies, and a couple of them together, that's all that they need. So the smoking gun might not be, it's not what they're looking for. One thing you want to also, we always talk about good days and bad days, and I ask this question on depositions all the time. If your injuries are such that you have good days and bad days, make sure your doctor knows about that. Make sure the IME doctor knows about that, because look, we know what it's like, and sometimes people do have good days and bad days. And maybe if they caught you doing something on a good day that was a little bit out of the ordinary, but it was a good day, look, again, just keeping it in mind. Insurance companies are going to watch you both in person and online, looking for ways to reduce or end your benefits. So be careful what you post on social media. Be mindful of what people in your life post on social media about you, getting tagged, things like that. Don't go racing dune buggies in Nevada. Don't go skydiving. Actually do whatever the hell you want, but if you shouldn't be doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing it, and don't post it online. But if you're able to do it and somebody's telling you shouldn't be doing it, you should really be having a discussion with your doctor and your lawyer at that point in time, because something's wrong. But just be mindful of what you post on social media. How about that? How about we leave it at that? Because I'm not here to teach people how to get away with murder. I'm here to tell people, how to handle a workers' compensation claim. So I don't want to go much beyond that. So what's a good settlement strategy to get the most out of your workers' compensation claim? Settlement strategy. I'm banging the gavel. Generally speaking, don't accept the first lowball offer. That's a generality. Sometimes that first lowball offer is your first take it or leave it offer, and you have to take it depending on the facts and the circumstances. Somebody asked me a question in the comments about nuisance value. Sometimes that first lowball offer is a nuisance value because you might not have a case that's going to be very successful. So That's why it's important to talk to your lawyer. Make sure you have a lawyer. Make sure you have a good lawyer who knows the workers' compensation system. And if you need somebody, you want to call me, 212-406-8989. Having a strategy, a settlement strategy, knowing when the right time to settle your case is. That's very important. Another discussion to have with your lawyer. Most of the time, this is when you're approaching maximum medical improvement, but not exactly there. But every case is different. And every set of circumstances is different. Every person is different. So having that discussion with your lawyer so they know when to try to start settling your case is super important. There's my next note. Working with a lawyer is the key. We know how to push for maximum value, how to get your case settled, how to get you what you're looking for. They know which aspects of your case increase the value and how to get any leverage over the insurance company and use that to your advantage. So that's why it's important to have a good lawyer, a lawyer like me. My mother would be happy to hear that. And if you need somebody, you can call me, 212-406-8989. Let's get into some of these questions. Whew. I don't know what happened to me. I haven't been feeling 100%. I got a flu shot last week, Saturday, Sunday. I felt like I got hit by a bus. And then all of a sudden, like the last 2 days, I'm shot out of a cannon. And now I'm thirsty. Could it be because the Mets had a fantastic game last night, which usually means that the follow-up is never mind. So Richie Chop says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're good. Brooklyn is in the house. Hear it now. So 100% disability. So 100% disability, you want to know about 100% disability means two things. You could be have a temporary 100% disability and a permanent 100% disability. You could be permanently, totally disabled, which is the pinnacle, which is the highest disability rating you can get. You can have a temporary total disability. That's as you're treating, healing through your case. And they're both worth 2/3 of your average weekly wage up to the statutory maximums. And you're welcome. Big Epape. I have a 35% impairment for my low back, a 30% impairment for my neck and head, a 20% for my right shoulder. Does that calculate to 85%? Assuming we're talking about a New York State case, Big Pap, not a Massachusetts case, Big Poppy. Assuming we're talking about a New York State case, no. So head, neck, and back permanency impairment ratings are different than scheduled loss of use. So the 20% of the right shoulder doesn't get added all in. No, it's not how it works. I need to know if it's a New York State case, and do you have a lawyer? Have you gone over this with your lawyer? Miss B is here. Miss B deserves a gold star. I haven't given her a gold star in a while. She is the hall monitor. She is a friend of the program. For those of you that have seen Blue Chips, the Nick Nolte's masterpiece, I've been to the gym where they shot that. Don't forget to hit the like button. I had 71 viewers 2 seconds ago. 2 people dropped out. Where'd you go, guys? Don't forget to hit the like button. If you like what you're hearing and you want to subscribe, that would make me happy. Harley Mania. Hi, Rex. Hi, Harley. The judge ruled I'm 100% and can't return to work for anything else. Workers' Compensation Board judge. Okay. But again, is that 100% temporary disabled or 100% permanent? Oh my God, Jasmine. How do you maximize 2 separate cases? For example, one a spine injury with sciatica, another for shoulders and knees with medical still open. It really depends on your work status. There's no fast answer to that question. I mean, if you're asking me, I would ask you to come in, bring all your decisions and as much medical as you have, and you and I would sit here for probably a half an hour to 45 minutes going through each scrap of just to get the most basic idea on how to maximize that. Do you have a lawyer, Jasmine? Oh my God, I hope you do, Jasmine. And if not, if you want to give me a call, I'm happy to go over things with you, try to help you out. 212-406-8989. Brooklyn, I understand that. Unable to return to work, but that, again, is that a temporary or permanent finding? Happy Thanksgiving. I love the Happy Thanksgiving up there. Mr. July 12. I know I'm going to catch myself like one of those newscasters. You guys are one of your names up there is going to catch me saying something like, whatever. You've all seen those videos. I love them. They make me laugh. I don't want to be on one day, so I got to be very careful what I say. How long does a judge take to make a decision after you sent the surgery report to get lost wage payment? So if you're trying to get your benefits bumped up to a total rate of compensation, how long does that take? A lot of times when we send in that surgical report and we send in a request for a hearing and the insurance company gets all that information, provided they're not fighting the claim or the site of injury that was operated on or the authorization for the surgery, they usually do it automatically. So sometimes it's fairly quick, but sometimes it takes a longer amount of time. Keith Jones from California just got an update this Friday. I got to my ALS doctor to get the letter agreeing with the PTP that says chemical exposure on the job is more likely not cause my ALS diagnosis. Happy to hear that. I don't know if you folks remember Keith from a couple episodes ago, but he's dealing with some horrible, horrible disabilities, which his doctors are purporting that are related to his work. And we wish Keith every ounce of the best. My heart goes out to you, and I wish I was in California to help you. But it sounds like you're starting to get a handle on what's going on, and I hope you're successful and you get the benefits that you need, and you can be comfortable and take care of business. Keith Jones, Mr. Jones, and me. Dennis Vargas, makes sense. LMBO, laughing my BO. I'm gonna move on. Treatment plans will get you well, provide medical proof, and solidify your integrity. You're right, Dennis. You are right. You're so right. You're going to get a gold star for that. Treatment plans will get you well. They will provide you ongoing, solid medical evidence and solidify your integrity because you did what your doctor told you to do. You got better and you moved on, and beautiful. Mr. Sir Bubblegum, my medication got delayed because the company that the insurance company represents has a risk assessment team. I hope they'll accept my lawyer's settlement demand. Thank you for being amazing, Rex. Thank you. I hope the same thing. All the good things happen for you too. Dennis, you're a funny guy. I'm sorry. It's gross. Mr. X. Every time I thought I had a workers' comp doctor assigned, my attorney would switch with another one or call the doctor's office and they'd say they didn't have my paperwork. I don't know if you're in New York State or not. That's important to know, but that's why I like to know when people come into me and they say, I say, do you have a doctor? Yeah, I'm seeing Dr. So-and-so. You happy? You're comfortable? You're good? If you're good, you're good. Just as long as they know what they're doing. And I'm going to be honest with you, that approach has not always been great because sometimes people say, oh, I love my doctor. I love my doctor. I love my doctor. And then you find out 3 months into it that their doctor doesn't take comp and you go, well, what the F is going on here? That was the first thing I said to you. We would have avoided that if I sent you to a doctor that I know takes workers' comp, but I don't want to do that. Doesn't look good. I don't want to do that. I want you to pick your doctor, be comfortable with your doctor, like Mr. Bubblegum. I haven't been able to see the doctors because workers' comp denied my surgery in March and my long-term disability got canceled because I needed to update a letter. It's been 6 months. Call your doctor and go back and see them. Call your lawyer and tell them what's going on. Call your doctor and go back and see them. Marte, I see what you posted, Mr. Marte. I don't want to get crazy with stuff outside the box here, but I heard nothing. Is this the attorney dropping the ball or the doctor? I told my attorney I'm done. I'm basically rehab myself. No, relax. Call your lawyer. Call your doctor. You look like an angry guy in that picture. Smile. Call your lawyer. Call your doctor. Get some explanations. Get some understanding. People look. Again, this goes back to I understand the frustration. I have clients that get frustrated too. That get angry. That feel like things aren't going their way. That people deliberately or they're mishandling. Look, chill out. Go talk, get an explanation, get an understanding, and figure out what the next steps are to move forward to avoid any future problems. I hope you had a good trip. I was wondering if there's a guide to tell you what an attorney can bill for workers' comp and how to determine if you're being billed correctly. I didn't have a trip, did I? Billing, so Mrs. B, and I should know this about you, is it a New York State case or not? Section 24 of the workers' compensation law explains how workers' compensation fees are awarded. We don't bill here. It's not on billable hours. So it's hard to say, it's hard to answer your question, but I mean, if you, the best way, there's a, maybe we could post a link to it. There's like a worksheet that workers' compensation here in New York changed our fee application a few years ago because the laws changed a little bit. Section 24 of the workers' compensation law changed how fees are awarded and paid. And they gave us, with the new fee application, kind of like a worksheet to understand how fees are awarded. And I've showed that to clients because it clears things up. If you go, I'm going to walk you through this slowly. If you Google New York State Workers' Compensation Board forms, if you go to the form section, okay, you got to click a few times, and then it's please select all forms. You want to go into the all forms section, and you scroll. You're looking for the OC 400.1 section. That's the fee application. In that area, there will be, and I forget if they call it like a desk guide or let me look it up real quick. NYSWCB forms. So I'm going to do this myself for you. All common forms. Bang. Workers' Compensation Board common forms. Oh, you don't have to go to the all forms. You're there already. You're going to scroll down to the OC 400.1, which is like 2/3 of the way down. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No. It's the new fee application desk aid is what it's called. You click on that new fee application desk aid, and it explains workers' compensation law section 24, 2A, 2B, 2A and B, 2C, 2D, 2E, 2F, all the different changes to the law, and it explains how fees are awarded in each of those circumstances. So how a lawyer gets a fee on retroactive money that's paid to you, how a lawyer gets a fee on a CCP, a continuation of money, how a lawyer gets a fee on a Section 32 agreement, how a lawyer gets a fee on a classification for a permanent partial or permanent total disability, how a lawyer gets a fee on a death claim. It's all laid out there. Super easy. So I would recommend you go hunt that down, and that will get you answers you want. I'm deducted attorney's fees out of my mileage reimbursement. No, here in New York State, lawyers do not get paid on M&T. So if you're owed $1,000 of medical and travel reimbursement, you get it. Lawyers don't take a fee on that. Dennis, Ms. B, get a room, you two. Everyone thank you, Dennis. Everyone, please. Rex is so well-rounded and thorough. Yeah, I've had like 4 cups of coffee today. Rex is so hopped up on caffeine. This is just water. Wait a minute, 60 people in the chat and there's only 12 likes? This is bullshit. Always keep documentation on everything that is correct. That's a very good point. Document, unless you're doing things illegal. Never give your original copies to everyone. Never give your originals to everyone. Give copies. Yes, people send us originals all the time. No, they don't send us originals all the time because we put an end to it. If we need something, I always tell everybody, make a copy, send us the copy, okay? If you're doing work search and you're submitting evidence of your work search, don't send us everything. Keep a copy. So if it gets lost in the mail, nowadays with all the scanning and all that kind of stuff, it makes it a little easier. Don't send us pictures. We can't use pictures. People will take, and if you're going to try to send a picture, why wouldn't you look at what the background is? I've gotten pictures on people's dirty bed with the underwear on the floor, a kitchen table with food everywhere. Come on, people. Oh, oh, now the questions are flowing, you guys. I got transportation. I heard of PEEP being recommended to apply for Accessoride by PT staff. Okay. That's a possibility. I know some people do take Accessorides, especially those that are really bad. Marte, Mr. Machine Marte. Last week was my IME appointment after my lower back surgery. It was a 75% rate, but the doctor body language was very weird. I'm nervous. Don't worry about it. His body language could be weird because he did 72 IMEs that day, and he was just tired. Don't jump the gun. Let's see what the IME report says. My attorney waited until the day of deposition to call me and prep. Terrible lawyer. Hey, at least it's fresh. Sorry you had a bad experience. I'm just trying to be funny. Can you get an award and file for disability? So are you asking me, can you get comp and file for disability? Like I said before, disability is the most generic term. When I hear disability, I think of Social Security disability. There's New York State temporary disability for off-the-job accidents. There's private disability policies. I need to know what disability we're talking about before I can provide you with an answer. But Dennis, Dennis, you're going to get carpal tunnel with all the posts today. I love it. How does returning to work with a non-scheduled injury work out? If you go back to work with a non-scheduled injury, generally, your benefits are based upon your lost time or your reduced earnings. So if you go back earning the same amount that you were earning before your accident or more, you're not going to get money. You're still going to get treatment. And if you do go out of work in the future, you could still potentially get benefits for that. But if you go back to work earning the same amount that you were earning before, you're not going to get any more money for non-schedule type injuries here in New York State. Doesn't apply everywhere. Jeff Martinez, how long do negotiations last in the case after the first offer? It's a question I get all the time, and I'm surprised that I can't answer for the next guy. I can't answer for the insurance company attorney or the adjuster. Some people respond fast. Some people drag their feet. Some people don't answer at all. So I've had negotiations picked up and done in one phone call in a few seconds, and I've had negotiations going for years. You know who I'm talking about out there. Oh my God, killing me. So it's hard to say. How long does it usually last? A week or two. Usually. I might be off. And then it's a couple weeks to get papers. Thank God for them all. Mets. You know what? With these Mets, who even knows with the Mets anymore? Oh my God, they laid a beating on the Padres, a good Padres team yesterday. I took my daughter to the alumni game last week. It was beautiful. The alumni game was beautiful. The Met game afterwards, not so much. 100. What happens if your doctor never releases you to go back to work and you have scheduled and non-scheduled loss of use? How is that calculated when settling your case based on the amount deducted from benefits? So if you never go back to work, your case is going to go that non-scheduled route. They're going to figure out how much overall impairment you have from your non-scheduled injuries, but the judge should factor in the scheduled injuries as well because they contribute to your overall impairment. So if you have a neck and a back injury that have you at 40% disability, but you also had 2 bad shoulders, well, that is going to raise that 40% up a little bit. Keep them coming. You like my William Shatner reference? Oh my God. I'm going to point my case where I just did labor market survey L2 to sacrum spinal fusion. Labor market survey. I'm thinking you're talking labor market attachment. I'm being watched. Yes. See? Assume you're being watched at all times. Done. Derek. I haven't seen you in a while, Derek. I hope everything is doing well by you. This guy. Groceries is a real life thing. The grocery store oh my God. Almost every time surveillance is pulled on somebody, there's a grocery clip in there somewhere because think about it. What happens in the grocery store scenario? We don't know what's in the bag. We don't know what's in the bag. What was in the bag, sir? It was a bag of potato chips. We don't know if it's a bag of potato chips. I mean, you could tell a little bit, but it's hard to say, and that's why they do it. So you don't know what's in the bag. It could be a gallon of milk. Why do they sometimes give you a complete percentage of your body, like 20%? Other times give it several, because that's the scheduled loss of use versus the non-schedule. The complete percentage of your body is done in 2 circumstances. During your temporary benefits, from your accident up until your MMI rating. Again, this is New York State only. You're given a complete percentage of your overall condition when you're temporarily disabled. From your accident date up until you're found to be at MMI. And the other time that it comes up is when it's a non-scheduled type of case. So otherwise, if it's a scheduled type of case, you have that overall impairment up until you reach MMI. Once you reach MMI, then they're going to say you have 10% of the foot or 15% of the arm. I know it's confusing, Jeff, and I'm not being a dick right now. I know it's confusing. If you have questions, you want to call me, give me a call. 212-406-8989. Mojo, man. 8 pounds is like a gallon of milk. Bam. Do companies surveil people if the doctor does not give any restrictions to the patient? What types of surveillance? Again, it's so wide open as to when surveillance is put on people, and it really depends on the adjuster or the insurance company's gut. So it's hard to say. Make all your socials private. You know what? Why? And again, I shouldn't be talking because I'm here in a public forum having discussions with people, but I'm here to help. But when it comes to my own social media, I don't want other people seeing what I got to do. I don't know why people think it's like so important that the whole world sees that you had a fucking turkey sandwich yesterday. Am I crazy? You think it makes sense? Do surveillance worry about comments you post unrelated to your injuries? If they can use anything you say can and might be used against you. So do they worry about comments that you? No, but if it's something there like, hey, Jim, I had a great time skiing with you in Killington last week. Well, then, yeah, they are going to use that against you. How and when does a person find that a case may or may not be successful? Talk to a lawyer who has experience, and they should be able to give you some advice there. It could be the flu shot. And yeah, I got a kid in school, and it's Petri dish season, and I got my cough, and that's what it is. And the flu shot did not help me. Robin's back. Hi, Robin. How have you been? I got like 8 minutes left. Oh my God, you guys, the questions have been flowing. Oh, I'm doing laundry. Okay. Like, she's yelling at you, folks. All right. So, Brooklyn, you're permanently disabled. You are found to have a PTD, a permanent total disability. We got you. You get permanent total benefits for the rest of your life or until you return to work. Getting a doctor that's familiar with workers' compensation is key. And one that reports all the exams and helps with letters. Get everything documented. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I got multiple bulging discs in my low back, and my doctor said I might need spinal fusion. Is that considered a high-value case if it keeps you out of work for a very long period of time or forever? Yes. I'm still out of work, and yes, I do. I forgot what the question was, Jasmine. A good lawyer like Rex and your doctor can work out all the necessary paperwork. And yes, we know what we're doing. It's that simple. Don't reinvent the wheel, folks. If given the same disability from the IME twice in New York State, is the rating that sticks to the end? No, unfortunately. If those are ratings of temporary disability, you could have been 100% disabled, and then they see you 3 months later and you're 75% disabled. Then they see you 3 months later and you're 50% disabled. Temporary. And then you could be 50% disabled for the next year, and then you could go down to 25. It doesn't stick. It sticks for however long that carries its weight. The PAP. It's a Maryland case. I knew you weren't in New York. I thought you were in Massachusetts. Maryland case, and yes, I have a lawyer. Just got the results back from the doctor. Waiting for them to answer what I just asked you. And there you go. Talk to your lawyers. Smurf choke slam. That's awesome. I reached MMI for a back injury. I'm 45, working the oil. I think we've spoken before. Smurf choke slam. I'm working in the oil and gas industry. Where? Are you a Louisiana guy? I fish those oil platforms. They're so awesome. They had me at 9%, but limited me to only picking up 10 pounds. Still waiting for a final admission. Wondering if my percent will change. It might. I don't know where you're being heard. Talk to your lawyer. Don't choke slam him if he's blue. Keep off of social media unless it's showing you disabled, but keep it simple and not off, and avoid pictures of it. Keep your social media to yourself. It's that simple. Workers' compensation doctors are hard to find. Yes, they are sometimes. That's not a joke. And we're losing them. There's doctors that are leaving the industry. And so yes, it's true, which is why if you need help finding one, you ask your lawyer. We can help you find somebody. I am getting shoulder replacement for. Does that mean that a big paycheck for me? Shoulder replacement is indicative of a pretty significant injury. I don't know what your prior payments are. I don't know what your average weekly wages. I don't know where your case is even being heard. So potentially could be a big paycheck for you. Mr. Bubba Gum, sir. Oh, nice. So is there hope of me getting my long-term disability benefits back again? Yay. Thank you, Rex. Talk to your lawyer. Get some understanding. I went on a train somewhere. I take the train into the city every day. Woo woo. I take the subway also. That's what got me sick. The subway's as bad as a kindergarten. Germs is germs. Mojo rise, and patience is the last thing a workers' compensation insurance company wants. What the insurance company wants is to drag your case along. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Patience. Pause. The last thing the insurance company wants is to drag a case along just to have you settle or pay you indefinitely. Be patient and be careful. FYI, I recently learned not to confuse bills, aka invoices, with treatment summaries. Okay. David, the onset of back pain occurred a few hours after I got home from work. I lifted 300 pounds with a coworker. They denied my claim because the onset of pain occurred at home. Make sure you have a lawyer and make sure you have a good lawyer and a good doctor. A doctor who can explain how this transpired and how the onset didn't happen until you cooled down and got home and rested and your back tightened up, whatever it is. But yeah, that's why you need a good lawyer and a good doctor. Maybe we could do a segment on their site and what it offers. Which site? Now, yeah, we reference back and I start losing things. I'm in another state. Just want to find out what I'm being billed properly. So yeah, I don't know what other state you're in, but they might have the same type of resources like I have here in your state. Ask your lawyer. So I don't know if it's Geraldo or Geraldo, 150, St. Nicholas on the gram is asking me, hello, can someone receiving workers' compensation also receive Social Security pension? I think you're talking about Social Security disability from New York City. Hi. And potentially, yes, you can receive both workers' compensation benefits and Social Security disability benefits at the same time. They're both benefits that are paid to you for disability. So yes, that is potentially possible and happens all the time. And if the two of those benefits equal, they go over a certain threshold, there is an offset by Social Security. Social Security will be reduced to get you back to that threshold level. Mile High Travel Guy, I had an unfavorable QME report initially, so my attorney requested a supplemental report, but the problem is my first QME retired, so the defense tried to call a BS mandatory settlement. Yep, it's not a New York State case. They offered $10K based on unfavorable report. Now I'm waiting for a replacement panel. What's next? I don't know what state you're in, and I know you're not in New York. That much I can get, so I don't know. That's a question for your lawyer. Talk to your lawyer about that, and if you need help finding one because you don't have one, give me a call. I might be able to help you out. Patience is key. Just had my mediation delayed, and I hope they accept our settlement demand soon. Keep up the faith. Keep up the faith. I don't know how Nebraska fees work. Anna Davis, do you have an attorney? Ask your lawyer. Check the website. Most state state workers' compensation, or whatever they call them, websites are pretty helpful with information like that. Do insurance companies always litigate if your case is straightforward, or would they rather try to settle your case and get closed? It depends. You know, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we're not privy to that, you know, insurance companies have, I'm losing the word here, reserves put on cases, overall reserves. Sometimes if insurance companies have a lot of money sitting around because there haven't been a lot of payouts, they'd be more willing to settle a case. Sometimes if, you know, they insure think of a huge construction company and they lost that account. Well, maybe they want to clear all those cases off their books, so they'd be more willing to settle. Maybe they're trying to get that account back, so they're less willing to settle because they want to show how tight they're being. You know, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, so it's hard to say when an insurance company is always going to be more open to settling cases or not, which is why you just got to be patient and persistent and have a good lawyer. So I don't care what their reserves are. I don't care that you're trying to get business or you're losing business. It's not my problem. It's your problem. My problem is helping my client get the most I can get for him, and that's it. So I don't really care what they have to say. After my IME, how long before the lawyers find the settlement? Could be days, could be weeks, could be years, could be never. Wide open. That made me laugh. The dentist comment on carpal tunnel, ouch my neck. I don't even know what you guys are killing me, Smalls. Damien, what are the options to close your case, but you need surgery and you don't want to have it now? Go through the workers' compensation system. What state are we talking here, Damien Roberts? New York State. If you want to somewhat keep that door open, you're not going to do a full and final Section 32. I can tell you that. Mustafa, my doctor filed my C4 form with a major contradiction. He gave me a rating but said I'm not MMI. So would it be viewed unfavorably if I went to another doctor for an MMI eval? I would talk to your doctor first about it. Sometimes doctors will say, I don't believe this person is at MMI, but if you're asking me for a permanency assessment today, I would give him this, but it's not. So get some clarification before you jump ship there. I got SSI and then win a settlement, sir. Will it add up for SSI or is it still the same? I don't understand the question. We're getting there. 51 likes, 71 in the chat. We are getting there. We have 76 in the chat. I don't get to see the likes on my end, which hurts my feelings. Juan P. Just recently went from a 40% disability to a 90% disability shift with the VA. Still dealing with workers' comp. They just offered me 10 grand or taking care of medical needs. Talk to your lawyer. Get a full sit down with your lawyer and go through everything. Everything is private and most social media is shut down. Yes, yes, yes. Be private in your private life. That's what I call private life. Comments on videos of people you don't know. Like things you find funny or silly, but not particularly. Okay, yes, you're right. Comment on things of people you don't know. Comment on those, on the public ones. Keep your private stuff private. You've been out of work 1 year and 2 months. I knew you were not in New York. Colorado. Do you have a lawyer out there? Colorado's so gorgeous. When does the first IME occur? It could happen within the first few weeks. It could happen all the way at the end when it's time to determine permanency. Depends on the case, depends on the carrier. The insurer is getting smoked. Nothing has gone in their favor. Why wouldn't they throw an offer out? Some insurance companies just don't settle. That's another thing. You know, there's certain insurance companies out there. There's certain entities that just don't settle cases. They say, we have the case. We're going to deal with it. We're going to let it ride. We're going to fight it every step along the way. And they don't settle. And there's no explanation for it. Robin is still in pain after 4 years. Her doctor does not prescribe medications. I am supposed to go see the orthopedic rehab doctor whose online rating is a 1.8. All I want is a daily muscle relaxer to help with muscle spasm. Talk to your lawyer. I don't know. You're not in New York. I recall you not being in New York. So certain states you have to kind of see the doctors that you're sent to. In New York, you're free to go see your own doctor. So thanks, Rex, for sharing your knowledge today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. I hope you do too. It's 5:33. I wanted to be out of here 3 minutes ago. I got to catch a train, Ms. B. Oh my God, the train is a bacteria-growing petri dish, and I have to get on one to get myself back home. A segment regarding the workers' compensation site. Yeah, maybe one day, Side, let's think about that one. Can we interface with the Workers' Compensation Board website, and I can walk people through certain things that I've been mentioning on there and kind of give them a how to navigate that website to find information that they would find helpful? That might be a good idea for another live. Maybe we can share screen it, and instead of slides, we can share screen with the board website. I can walk through it. I ask because me and my lawyer don't always see eye to eye. If they're not abiding by the rule, they won't tell me that. You're right. Check with your state's website. I mean, I don't want to recommend that you go to the bar association, but not the formal bar association. I'm not saying you get the guy in trouble. Let me think about this one. Usually if you go to your county bar association, you just say, hey, I just had a couple of questions. Maybe you can get some answers. Again, I don't want to create conflict where there shouldn't be one. But I want you to be happy. Mile High guy's in California. I knew he was not in New York. Gallagher Bassett has a lot of reserves. Gallagher Bassett can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Not all the time, sometimes. Be nice and get your mind right. Didn't we used to have a follower, get your mind right? If you need to talk to somebody, then reach out to somebody. Yes, he's right. If you need to talk to somebody, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with going to speak to somebody, getting your mental back in check. 56, 57. Folks, Robin is in New York. Okay. Good. Everyone's learning from me. Miss Montenegro. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea, Steph, that we do that. You're going to give me a practice. Whoop. Steph's going to give me a practice tutorial on linking up the site. And yeah, maybe that's a good idea. I like that idea. Ms. B, what the insurance company that never settles, what happens? Be safe. Make sure you don't touch people or things. I would recommend wearing a mask. I'm not contagious anymore. This cough is long. This is the end effects of the cough. And yes, I've been washing my hands and my feet and everything as soon as I go home. My baby is just too precious. You call me, I'll let you know. The insurance company. There's a few of them. There's some of them that are more difficult to get settlements out of than others. So, hey, is Boo Brown Chi-Town? Thank you for all your information. I can sleep now. I know what to ask my attorney. That's all we want. Make people comfortable. Mental health can be a part of workers' compensation in New York State. Yes, they can. We have, it happens. Listen, it happens. And if you have to see somebody, you go see somebody. Folks, I'm done. I'm going to go home, eat some dinner, play with the kids, go to bed. What awesome showing today. Great questions. I love you guys. I do. The great questions, great back and forth. I thought we hit a lot of high notes on the presentation, and the questions were just fantastic. As always, folks, if you have questions, you can call me here. I know some people, I never get to speak to Rex. Listen, I'm a busy guy. Yes, today I was on hearings all day, and I had 1 or 2 depositions mixed in. And people are like, I want to speak to Rex. He told me to call. I have a staff that's trained, and they can answer most of your questions. And if they can't, they're going to get me on the phone. I know people want to speak to me. I can't always get to every phone call. I try my best. I really, really do. But please just bear with us. And my staff here is always willing to help. So please, if you need to call, you call. We're going to help you out. Thank you so very much, folks. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe. Be good to each other. Be good. I love you guys. Next week, Jewish holidays. I am going to be off calendar next week. I think we're going to have to come back and regroup the week after. Next week is a weird week with the holidays and everything. And of course, my Outlook is not opening now. I'm going to talk to the powers that be, and we're going to get you guys the next date and time. It's probably going to be the following Wednesday. Let's just check this here. Come on, computer. Be a good computer. We had to do a restart earlier during our technical difficulties, and that has endangered everything. I'm just now getting, wow, all my emails are just exploding. Not good. Not good. So yeah, most likely we're going to be talking on the following Wednesday. So the 24th is out. October 1st, opening day of hunting season for those of you guys that like to hunt and girls that like to hunt. Oh, no, that's Yom Kippur. That's not going to work either. How we about Thursday? We're going to do either Tuesday, September 30th, or Thursday, the 2nd. It's going to be one of those two. Probably Tuesday the 30th, folks. But we're going to confirm. Okay. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please give us a call. 212-406-8989. Again, have a safe and healthy rest of your day. Have a good weekend. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm going to miss you. Bye-bye.